All right, so inside of Fish, we have a money method. You gotta use this now. And I'm not gonna lie, this money method is actually so insane. I've used it to get to level 1800 and make 1.3 billion in the past few days. This account is really new, not even gonna lie, and I've been using a macro. I'll have the macro in the description and at the end of this video if you're gonna check that. That's literally that's carrying me, bro. But nonetheless, we're gonna be looking over the best rods for this. And as a quick note, you might want to check this out. KG, decent stats. You can make a decent amount of money, especially if you're fishing in some of the new zones. So one of the first things we're going to be looking over is in here. So inside of this bestiary, right? Carrot garden, the carrot shark is the target. So you want to do specifically spring. So I'm going to recommend a few things. Firstly, you switch zones depending on certain things. So firstly, if it's, autumn, we're going to be using some rods for this. So currently don't have the Crimson Cavern unlocked, working on that. I did not remember how hard it was to get a Crimson Sea Colossal Blue Dragon. I'm not gonna lie. I remember last time I was like, oh, I got it after a few appraisals. I've appraised like almost 100 million worth of appraising, still haven't gotten it. So I haven't gotten that yet, but we do have the Luminescent Oath. Now this is only one of the peak rods for this. I'm gonna be covering the other ones. Now, as a quick note, there's gonna be 3 stages to this. Each stage is including a better rod and the best zone. So I'm gonna be showing you the 2 best zones currently. So first things first, we're gonna head on down into the thing. So currently my favorite spot is going to be the Carrot Garden. So I'm going to head on over there real quick. This has a pretty good chances for the exotic, and the main reason I like this one is the exotic isn't too hard to catch. A lot of exotics are a bit of a pain in the butt, but we're just going to head on over here. Now, I'll also explain, I guess, briefly the thing you're gonna need to use. So with your rods, right, based on the money you make, you can also use this. So mutations, the current event ones from Fish Giving, you need to buy a ton of these. I'm gonna try to get at least a few 100,000 of these, and the reason of each bait. The reason for this is it's going away permanently, and it has a crazy mutation, which gravy, if you don't know, like I got this colossal gravy ethereal dragon, pure luck, while I was AFKing in the Luminescent Cavern with the macro, by the way. We got this. Now, the main impressive part about it isn't the fact that a macro caught it, but is that it got the 20% chance mutation, and that is an 8x, which is insane. So first things first is the first thing you gotta note is your size increase needs to be tremendous. You want to use Sea Overlord, have at least a 40% increase, meaning you want to have at least Sea Overlord, Sea Prince, Sea King, whatever. You want to have a good size increase mutation. This is very necessary for most long-term money methods. They pretty much all rely on having a high quality enchantment like Sea Overlord, Sea Prince. But most rods need other mutations to be functionally good for just fishing. That's why you need to compensate. So the Luminescent Oath and Ruinous Oath is a good example of having just overall good stats in general, which is why you can use something like Sea Overlord and Sea Prince, and it's not too big of a deal. But obviously, if they ever fix the glitch with Nate's Blade, that is literally technically the best rod you could use. Now, technically, if you're really good, you don't need an insane rod. You could use the King's Rod realistically. All fish caught are 30% bigger. Get Sea Overlord or Greedy on it if you're really good at catching with the deduction and stats. Greedy, or you can use Sea Overlord, Sea Prince. All fish are going to be way bigger, and use this during a nuke, especially an atomic nuke. I know someone who did that, made a decent amount of money. Infinite KG, decent stats. You can make a decent amount of money, especially if you're fishing in some of the new zones. So one of the first things we're going to be looking over is in here. So inside of this bestiary, right? Carrot garden, the carrot shark is the target. So you want to do specifically spring. So I'm going to recommend a few things. Firstly, you switch zones depending on certain things. So firstly, if it's, autumn, currently you want to fish, I'll show you that later, but since it's not spring yet, once it's spring, I would recommend fishing down here. Obviously most of the things in here prefer spring. So spring will make your chances way better for those, especially the higher ones. So you would want to fish here during spring in Aurora, and as you see during windy, doesn't really matter. Aurora's better, but currently right now, if it was spring, there'd be better chances. Spring, Aurora, right? You're cooking. Next thing is going to be your bait. Doesn't really matter, but once again, I'd recommend using these like crazy if you have them. If not, you can use something simple to boost your chances. Like my personal favorite is the Luminescent Larva. Really good. Just improvement stats in general. But the next spot and thing we're going to look over is the rods. You don't have to, like I said, have, Luminescent Oath, Ruinous Oath, all that stuff. I will say Luminescent Oath is super good considering how easy you can get it. Like, yes, it takes a bit of grinding to unlock Luminescent Oath to finish the best year and all that, but it's realistically not too difficult in full sight, right? Whenever you get the colossal, or not colossal, but the blue colossal dragon, it's not that hard to catch, right? So you can get it relatively simple. So the next thing, right, right, we're gonna look over is the next zone. So obviously you can just come right out of here and go and fish in Carrot Garden. This is, or not Carrot Garden, the Mushgrove Swamp. You can fish in here. If you pop out your fish radar, come over here to the alligator section. This is a decent section to fish into here. So like you can stand off of this and fish into it, or you can stand off this and fish into it. But that is going to boost your chances for alligator, which is a legendary. It's decent money. And overall, just for that. Now, the next thing is what I will recommend at least is having a decent control for when you're fishing in the section over Mushgrove Swamp in the alligator marsh, because the fish is going to be having higher resilience and it's going to be moving around harder. So it's going to be a bit more difficult to catch, but that's why I'd recommend having more resilience. Now, the next spot, as a quick note, once again, we're going to be showing you the macro in a second, but that is the best macro by far. No, it's literally doesn't even, you know, a lot of macros, right? They're like, oh, it's false positives, guys. It's not a virus. This has no false positives in the first place. It's actually insane. So the next spot we're going to be checking out is this. So as a quick note, one of the main things you can use for money is the limited fish from Fish Giving, which are going to be turkey. This leaves in 3 days. That's why you need to take advantage of it now. As of watching this, is probably going to be 2 days. Reason for this is each fish corresponds with a specific zone. I've actually almost completed the entire thing. I think the slate one, nope, it's the pilgrim hat I don't have in sparkling. Besides that, I've farmed the crap out of these. That's why I've made most of my money, as you can tell. But one of the main things you want to look for is the zone. So what I have found most optimally is the fish with the lowest bestiary. So what you can do is fish, all of the turkeys have the exact same value, exact same XP, all of that, but they come in different zones. So the Poseidon turkey comes from most of the Grand Reef section, but if you go and look at the bestiary for Grand Reef, as you might note, it only has 8 fish. Only 8 fish, keep in mind. You go to some other zone, like for example, the Roslyn Volcano, way more. So your chances of getting that are way lower, which is why sections such as the Grand Reef are going to be very good for this. And I'll go over there and show you in a second. But the reason why this, is good in the first place is since there's less fish in the overall zone you can catch, it's going to boost your chances for getting the, limited time Poseidon turkey, meaning you can get essentially more money, more value out of this. So we're just going to come on over here, Grand Reef, just over here. And honestly, you can just fish in the main section like you can do next to the mermaid or wherever. Now, the next thing is you really want to target turkey, especially during the season of autumn. Obviously, they get increased chances during autumn. They prefer autumn and insect bait, but the only issue with insect bait is it has a preferred luck of 35. Meanwhile, all of the Thanksgiving bait has a preferred luck stat towards it. It doesn't say it, but it does. So that's why I've been using personally the pumpkin pieces, 120 preferred luck, 150 universal luck. Now, I think the gourd one is better. Yeah, it's better for resilience, but pumpkin piece is it's the more rare one out of it. You get less, but it is better. So I'd recommend getting this one, fishing with it. Now, the next thing, just to top this all off, is if you're fishing here, right, and to increase your chances for just by the most, Ruinous Oath is going to be, this is the most optimal, right? You're going to be using Ruinous Oath, and we're going to be heading on over to the most peak optimal spot, which is going to be none other than a hidden secret section in Maple Meadow. It's going to make you the most possible money in the game. So I'm gonna head on over there right now. So Maple Meadow, the reason for this is it's designated as an ocean bestiary. If you didn't know, when you're here, you're technically fishing in the ocean, but the difference is you can catch every single limited here. Now, the reason why this is nice is it's actually going to increase your chances just to catch a turkey in general more than any other zone, which is why you should fish here. So you can fish any dock anywhere on the island, but my personal favorite spot is you're going to come towards the middle section and you're just going to come in over here and down in this section right where my boat crashed. You're going to come in here. This is going to be right next to the Marsh Feast Mason. You're going to fish in this water right here. This is where I've had the best luck and the best revenue in return, but I would recommend, once again, during autumn, during an aurora, you're going to make a stupid amount. Run Merlin's luck if you can, use glitch potions if you can, and use luck potions if you can. But for the most part, that's pretty much going to be it for